and she's also been subpoenaed by the Oversight Committee. I think this is great. I do have a feeling that she just might be a victim. She just might be. There was a rush to judgment. There was a lot of chaos there for a while. All right, granted, she hung out with Jeffrey Epstein, and I know that's apparently not good.
What, a victim? Okay, we've been talking about Jeffrey Epstein a lot, but Ghislaine Maxwell, she's a lot of things, but she is not a victim. She is a rapist, a partner in a sex trafficking ring aimed at young girls, a liar, and an evil person through and through. This is not one of those Stockholm Syndrome cases where the victim is converted through captivity. Ghislaine Maxwell arranged the logs, booked the flights, managed the connections, and gave Epstein the access he never had until she came along. Her father was Mossad, and she was groomed from day one to take over his web of operations. She didn't even stop to grieve when he died. Within days after his death, she was back in New York, living large and plugging Epstein into the billionaire elite. Epstein wasn't the mastermind, he was the cover. Ghislaine Maxwell was the kingpin of all of this.
Mike Johnson's top job right now is keeping the House majority. So he is going to have to create some daylight with Trump. He also said something interesting when asked yesterday, I believe, where he kind of sowed some doubt that Ghislaine Maxwell could actually be a trustworthy person, because this is a convicted sex trafficker. This is somebody who assisted a man with grooming and with bringing other women into this horrible, horrible circumstances. So he also seems to be maybe kind of pouring some cold water on the idea that she's going to help us get to the bottom of anything, or that she herself should be trusted. It's the right move. It's the right move by Johnson. He's got to focus on protecting his members and cannot have them dragged down by the White House's mishandling of this.
It is interesting. You bring up Maxwell again, and you have to, I hope people do remember what some of the victims, Epstein's victims, have said. I mean, they have said that, and this was testimony in her trial, that she sexually abused them. She was convicted of conspiring to sexually abuse minors. And how much of a risk, Alyssa, is there that in these meetings where the Justice Department, seems to be praising the idea of the meetings, Maxwell's lawyers are praising the Justice Department, how much political risk is there of trying to seem too cozy?
This Newsmax host is a huge part of the problem when it comes to this case.
She just might be a victim.
These Republican maggots will hold on to power, whether it's 20 kids shot at Sandy Hook or raped by rich and powerful pedophiles. They won't do a thing.
Mr. President, this is nothing but political theater. It's so obvious that the Democrats are just using this for a political football.
You see, Maxwell was in every way much worse than Epstein. Epstein only had access to these young girls because of Ghislaine Maxwell.
That would be convicted child sex trafficker Ghislaine Maxwell.
She just might be a victim.
She was inseparable from Epstein for nearly 3 decades, and in that time, she reportedly procured and groomed the middle school and high school age girls that Epstein and Maxwell and others reportedly preyed on.
Virginia Roberts was working in the spa at Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago club in Palm Beach when British socialite Ghislaine Maxwell introduced her to multimillionaire Jeffrey Epstein.
The training started immediately. I mean, it was everything down to how to give a blowjob, how to be quiet, be subservient, give Jeffrey what he wants. A lot of this training came from Ghislaine herself. And being a woman, it kind of surprises you that a woman could actually let stuff like that happen, but not only let it happen, but to groom you into doing it.
That woman you heard from there, who changed her name to Virginia Giuffre, says she was 16 when Maxwell and Epstein began training her daily in one of Epstein's mansions to, quote, do what they wanted, including sexual activities and the use of sexual toys. At least 200 women have made similar accusations. Back in April, Giuffre died by suicide, but not before telling the Miami Herald how Ghislaine Maxwell tracked her down half a world away and demanded her silence.
And I get a phone call from Ghislaine one day in Australia. I'm in Australia. I was like, how the hell did she just find me? Like, I've been out of their life for so long. What's going on? She's like, have you talked to anybody? Have you told anybody what's happened? Like, have you reported us or anything? And I said, no, I haven't spoken to anybody. Okay, good. You stay like that. You stay quiet.
You stay quiet. In 2022, 3 years after Epstein was arrested and killed himself, Ghislaine Maxwell was convicted on 5 felony counts. She is currently serving 20 years and facing more criminal trials. And because Maxwell was Epstein's partner, she was also seen in multiple photographs at multiple events on multiple occasions with, of course, Donald Trump. In fact, when she was on trial without bail, this is what he said about her.
I'm wondering, do you feel that she's going to turn in powerful men? How do you see that working out?
I don't know. I haven't really been following it too much. I just wish her well, frankly. I've met her numerous times over the years, especially since I lived in Palm Beach, and I guess they lived in Palm Beach. But I wish her well, whatever it is.
Mr. President, Ghislaine Maxwell has been arrested on allegations of child sex trafficking. Why would you wish such a person well?
First of all, I don't know that, but I do know that
she has. She's been arrested for that. You know that.
Friend or boyfriend,
Epstein,
was either killed or committed suicide in jail. She's now in jail. Yeah, I wish her well. I'd wish you well. I'd wish a lot of people well.
She just might be a victim.
So as Trump's former personal attorney, Todd Blanche, finishes up his preliminary interview with Maxwell, a couple of things need to be pointed out. First, she has repeatedly lied under oath. And secondly, Trump and her share the same problem. How do they extricate themselves from Epstein? Trump is currently drowning the Republican Party to the point that even Speaker Mike Johnson is contradicting man titties.
But I don't understand why the Jeffrey Epstein case would be of interest to anybody. It's pretty boring stuff.
He's dead. He's gone. And all it is the Republicans, certain Republicans got duped by the Democrats, and they're following a Democrat playbook.
Files were made up by Comey. They were made up by Obama. They were made up by the Biden information.
You said this was all a hoax. Has your attorney general told you this was a hoax? What evidence have you seen?
No, it's not the attorney general. No, I know it's a hoax.
We want full transparency. We want everybody who was involved in any way with the Epstein evils, let's call it what it was, to be brought to justice as quickly as possible. We want the full weight of the law on their heads.
This is not a hoax, in other words.
Oh, it's not a hoax. Of course not.
So what can Trump offer Maxwell, and what can she offer him? First, Trump could pardon her.
It's something I'm allowed to do.
So if Trump pardons a woman who raped these girls, how would that look?
I have spent the last 17 years in my own prison for what she, Jeffrey, and all the co-conspirators did to me. I was raped repeatedly. I was raped 3 times a day sometimes. And I was not the only girl on that island. There was a constant stream of girls being raped over and over and over again. And yes, Ghislaine must die in prison.
And what does Maxwell know? Well, how about everything? Look, let's be honest here. Biden fucked up by not going after these files after Maxwell went to jail in 2019. The Justice Department was busy, okay, but they were foobarring the very strong cases against Trump's stolen documents and the insurrection. But now, Trump isn't going to dig to the bottom because he's at the bottom. And if you disagree, why won't he tear the whole fucking thing open? What the fuck are people hiding? But don't look to Maxwell for answers. She'll serve her own interests just like she always has.
This woman is a monster.
She just might be a victim.
Okay? She's somebody who would go to recruit the little girls for Jeffrey Epstein. Anybody who's got a child in summer camp right now, she would go to the summer camps to find them. And then she would groom them so they would feel comfortable with him. And then she would abuse them and he would abuse them. That's who the Department of Justice decided to talk to today. So when you're dealing with a monster, you can cooperate a monster, that is possible. The first thing they have to do is say, I did it. I'm guilty. I admit my guilt and I'm going to help you make a case against other people. To date, we have no reason to believe she's done that. She's always maintained her innocence. That's why she went to trial. Under oath in a deposition, she said there was no sex trafficking operation. There was no conspiracy here. That's why she was charged with perjury. So unless she comes in and says, I did it, I'm guilty, and she's not going to do that because she has an appeal pending before the Supreme Court. So I guess maybe the rules don't apply to Ghislaine Maxwell, and Todd Blanche just wanted to ask her about other people, knowing that if she doesn't admit her own guilt, she can never be a witness against anybody else at a trial. And then the other piece is before her trial, she said to the court, through her lawyers, that she has no corroborating evidence for her account of things. No witnesses that are alive. People are either dead or missing or just don't remember. No documents. So if you have your word and you don't have anything to support your account, you're not usable as a witness against anybody. So if Ghislaine Maxwell, if you believe her that she has no evidence to support herself and she is somebody who cannot be used as a witness, what is Todd Blanche doing there?
But as this drags on and on and on, the big reveal here is the problem Trump is facing. Let's look at it. Trump and his DOJ say that after months of claiming there are tapes and a client list,
it's sitting on my desk.
Suddenly there are no tapes or client list.
It's sitting on my desk.
So they can't ignore this. The pushback from MAGA is intense.
And now he says if you're not on board with the Epstein cover-up, oh, I don't want your support. You're a weakling. Fuck you. Fuck you. You suck.
So can Trump just pretend that Maxwell has nothing to say when everyone knows she knows everything? And how will Maxwell react if Trump and his DOJ monkeys throw up their hands and say, Epstein did everything, there is no list, and it's time for everyone to go home? How would that go down with hardcore MAGA?
You know about sexual predators and things like that. Right. I mean,
you are one.
All right, I was going to say that, but it's true.
Newsmax is that part of MAGA that makes you wonder if Trump is eventually tied to these sex acts, would they remove him from office? I have no doubt the House would impeach him, even with this Republican majority. But you need 67 votes in the Senate to remove him. I don't see 20 Republican senators voting against Trump, even if he is exposed as a pedophile.
She just might be a victim.
So what's next? Good question. Because Maxwell knows everything, and the only reason she's doing 20 years instead of life is because she's attractive and men are fucking morons. She's a real danger, as are the men who had sex with these young girls. And I say this to Trump. If you didn't have sex with a 13-year-old girl, why do you keep acting like you did?
Are you still talking about Jeffrey Epstein?
Goddamn right.
It's sitting on my desk.
Trump admitted he knew Epstein for 15 years.
Do you have no shame?
They don't know what the fuck they're doing.
I don't want to talk about this stuff.
Am I wrong?
You're in a lot of trouble, Donnie.
I think he's crazy.
I'm Chip Franklin.